Hey y'all, we just got the surprise of a lifetime with the Life is Strange double exposure trailer and then a reveal that was an hour long. Now, of course, we want to talk about theories and opinions and feelings as well as just what we know. However, those are extremely complex, shall we say. So let's just go into the facts of what we know right now, and I'm gonna have another video with a lot of opinions and theories and juicy bits. That's kind of gross. I'm not gonna show you any juicy bits. You do it for the views. No, you don't. That's not okay. Well, it's okay for if you want to do that. That's not something I want to do. It's like a personal choice. Anyway, hi, I'm Tina. I'm playing with heart. And if it's your first time here, I focus on story and choice-based games, either playing them or analyzing them completely. And I get into the nitty-gritty. I will play games millions of times, making one choice difference just to track them, spreadsheets, flowcharts galore, and I break it down for you so you can see what every choice, what the consequences are related to that.
Wild, right?
Okay, what do we know so far about Life is Strange double exposure after we saw the Reveal Livestream? Let's dig in.
One question clearly takes priority.
We knew that this had to be something special. We knew we had to respect the two unforgettable endings to the first chapter of Max's story, while also crafting something new, something fresh that echoed and acknowledged Max's past challenges, even as it moved her personal story forward.
This was one of the biggest concerns that I had for this game being created at all, is like, were they gonna pick a canon ending? And I am so glad that they confirmed that they didn't. I know that that's maybe not a popular opinion. A lot of people, have a certain opinion of one that they want to be canon, but don't nod. They have always said there isn't one. It is your game. And that, to me, is what makes it so special, is that you have to go through that process of making that difficult choice. That's what the whole premise of the game is. And then that is your reality, your timeline, if you will, right? And they stick with that. There isn't one that they have in mind, So I'm so glad that that's what happened here.
Okay, cheese. Agree to disagree.
Both endings are preserved somehow. Now, there's lots of theories about how that will be done throughout, and that mostly I'm going to talk about kind of like my theories about what I think in another video. Again, just the facts here. Now, at first, I thought that there would be something in the beginning, like in Life is Strange 2, did you choose to sacrifice Arcadia Bay or Chloe or whatever? And then you would get to pick which one it was, and then that would, lend itself to the rest of the game. But I actually love how they're handling this. It makes it much more organic. It feels much less like a game. They're allowing you to have a conversation with one of the main characters, Safi, which we'll talk about in a minute. She asks you about your life, right? And we got a clue to what that question is.
Is this about the blue-haired girl whose picture you keep in your wallet? What's the deal with you two?
Now, there are a lot of opinions about the two answers that you have to choose from. But I also think that this is not going to be the only question that determines the ending, because there were two different things. You either ended with Chloe as a love interest or not, and then you also chose if you wanted to save Arcadia Bay or Chloe. And so I think there's more to this question to determine the ending. I don't think it's if you chose high school sweetheart, she's still alive. And if you chose friends, she's not. That doesn't even make sense if that's the way it is. The fact that they preserve both timelines makes me trust this game so much more. It makes me so much more excited, because if they're considering the original intention at that core level, knowing that it could create a lot more development work, who knows how, it just shows that they really care for the story and the original intention. And that is a big deal. And I'm very happy about that. So that's exciting.
I'm Telle, and I play Max Caulfield in Life is Strange double exposure.
It's a real honor to get to come back and expand on her story.
Max is back. Max is back. What's even greater is that Telle is doing Max's voice again. Such a beautiful, unique voice. I don't see how anybody else could be Max.
I love Max so much, and we have so much in common. My experience playing her the first time around was so formative in my life. In a certain way, it feels like I'm coming home.
But Max has changed a lot through the years. There are rumors that it's been 10 years since we saw Max at the end of the original Life is Strange. This is because just after the release trailer, the Japan Square Enix site showed Max as being 28 on this graphic. But since then, interestingly enough, her age was actually removed. So sadly, I don't think we can say this is officially a fact yet. Although having the story be 10 years later just seems to make sense for a story arc, so it's safe to say it's somewhere around there, if not exactly 10 years later.
She's come to Caledon University to start afresh, to build a life that's separate from a past that she doesn't really want to think about anymore.
Now, speaking of the university, let's just talk about the setting overall. Upstate Vermont, we think it's a city probably, called Lakeport.
Lakeport's most notorious party animals.
Is that a real place? Lakeport, Vermont. I almost moved to Vermont. Nope, don't see it. I mean, they're not gonna make these real places. Come on. It's the dead of winter. It's very cold. We can see it by their breath. And it's near holiday break. We also know that Max has only been at the university for 6 months or less.
Go talk to somebody who's been here longer than 6 months.
But before coming to the university, it sounds like she's been on her own for a while.
She's been on the road. She doesn't feel comfortable in any one place. For some reason, anything that's desolate or stark and intense really draws her eye. And she's made a bit of a name for herself by photographing these types of images.
Now, if you zoom in on the plaque that you see in this gallery or common space within the university, I assume, you'll see more of what Max has been up to. First, it says she got her first camera when she was 6 years old, which I don't think we knew that before, and if we did, I'm a horrible fan. And that she seeks to capture a life that evades explanation. It says that she's captured photos of the green hell, the recession of the Pacific Northwest, and the waste states of the Rust Belt. Now, I don't know what those things are. I'm going to look those up. These states were the manufacturing center of the United States. The term Rust Belt became more common as the elements caused abandoned facilities to rust over time. She's going into these places, into these factories, and that's so interesting. Green hell. They can be found throughout the jungle, can usually be heard singing before being sighted. I'm confused. What? That's a game. How do I find this? It's all just talking about this game. Wait, maybe ChatGPT can help. What is the green hell in the Pacific Northwest? Not the video game, but the actual place or situation. Extremely dense, rugged, and often impenetrable forest terrain found in this region. The Green Hell moniker highlights the difficulties that explorers, hikers, and survivalists can encounter in these forests. Okay, thank you. Thank you to the GPT I used. It's generative. It may not be true. Is everything you said here accurate, or did you make any of it up? The description I provided is accurate. Great, I trust you. That was good. That was good. Okay, Max was going through this by herself? Like, she has grown up. She has done some things. Oh, and she was probably working through some trauma. Like, no matter which choice she made, trauma. Big time. Back to the plaque. It also says that she restored meaning to empty places, illuminating everyday people in the brink of change. Which sounds a little bit like someone we know. Just the facts, no theories here, but in the comments, feel free. Won an IPA award and National Geographic Fellowship. Max, this is amazing. So this recognition must have really given her confidence. Well, she probably developed over time, honestly.
Her posture became a bit more sure of herself and tall and standing to her full height and taking up space and being comfortable with that. She feels like, hey, this is who I'm supposed to be.
I wonder when she started doing the freelance stuff compared to when she left Arcadia Bay. She was like doing this whole thing on her own and then somehow got this artist in residence job with Caledon University.
Your mom threw me a lifeline, pulled me out of freelance hell.
So Max's closest friend at Caledon is Safi. And we know that early on, Max finds her dead, leading to a murder mystery that we think runs through the rest of the game. But let's talk about Safi first. Like, before that happens, she's outgoing, she's positive, she seems like she's kind of a little sassy, but in like a fun way. I like her personality a lot. She's fun. And she's very curious about Max.
One of these days, I'm going to find out what you're running from, Max Caulfield.
Based on the Japan site, again, she's a graduate student. We also know that she is a poet, and she has recently, we think, unless it's part of the mystery, had a publisher make her an offer.
For real? Congratulations.
She's waiting for the paperwork to be signed. Now, this is the point where we see Safi leave, and soon after, Max discovers her body.
There are no footprints, there's no weapon. Police are completely stumped as to how it could have happened.
You, as the player, as Max, are uniquely suited to use your time powers to solve this crime.
But Max's rewind power isn't the one they're referring to.
She actually does not have her rewind powers anymore. And so when Safi is murdered, she can't rewind. It's like losing fluency in a language.
I know people are kind of like upset about rewind not being a power, but it makes sense that she wants to just distance herself from a power that caused, at least as far as she knows and thinks, all of this trauma. And it came from her. Like, oh my God, of course you're gonna wanna repress that.
The powers resulted in ultimate devastation in her life and everyone's life around her, and even like the space-time continuum with the weather-related phenomenons that were taking place because of her using this power. So she feels like this is like a deadly weapon. As Max has evolved, her powers have evolved. It atrophied and it adapted into something different.
Because of this murder, there's something new going on.
She is able to shift from the current timeline into a parallel timeline where her friend Safi is alive. And why exactly that has happened is at the heart of the story.
The thing I care about the most about this, and it's what we know, is that the people that created this, the writers, the developers, really wanted to honor this story and honor Max, which is just so great. They wanted to keep the powers aligned with the emotional journey, not just powers for power's sake, like something that really carries the story. It's so easy to just, oh, you have this power, but like, no, like make this relevant to the experience. And so I'm really excited about that. We know that there are two distinct powers, that we know about. Maybe there's more. One is called Pulse. It's like sort of like an energy scan. So Pulse can find that weak spot or the shift spot, as they say. But it can also, like if there's people there or if there's different things in that area, she can get a glimpse of what's there and even eavesdrop on conversations without actually being there. So they don't know that she heard. Then she can find that shift spot, that weak spot, and then go over. And then when she's doing this kind of thing, that's called shift or shifting. And she can actually like enter into that timeline. Now, will these be her only powers? We don't know. These are the two powers that we've been told as facts. We'll leave it at that. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about this other timeline. Now we know that there are two timelines, at least that we know of right now. And one where Safi has been murdered already, and one where she hasn't yet. You can talk to people, get information that you wouldn't have in the other timeline. Like Safi's dead in one and not in the other, so people have changed, right? So you could talk to people, you can find clues and like solve puzzles. That is one thing that I definitely missed in True Colors. It sounds like maybe that's coming back. I hope it's coming back in a more significant way. Still focus on the story, but I hope that there's more of that because I really like that. So solve puzzles, get clues to solve and prevent. And also, you can move objects from one timeline to the other. So this is going to be kind of similar to, Max grabbing something in Life is Strange 1, rewinding, and then she's still holding the object. It's going to be probably a similar effect to that, where it's like, me physically, I don't change, but the world around me does.
She has a unique position to figure out what's really going on in this terrible situation of Safi's death.
It's her relationship with Safi that's the key to solving it.
And it's not just Safi. Max will have to juggle really interesting social situations because of what's going on. Like with the next character we know a lot about, Moses. Moses Murphy, and they call him Murph sometime, I guess, or at least Safi does. And we've heard that Safi is Max's closest friend. However, Moses and Safi are best friends. So maybe it's like, you know, we were friends first, and then like Max doesn't know anyone, and so Safi is Max's closest friend, but like, you know, doesn't have the history. It's probably something like that. He's an astrophysicist. He's wearing a badge, he's staff. And what I think he is gonna be is like the Warren knowledge character, like who Max can go to about this quantum physics type of stuff.
This seems like pure cause and effect. Maybe chaos theory.
He not only is interested in the science, he might understand a little bit more about what's maybe not so well explained in current research.
He might be the only person who can help Max understand what's going on with her powers, and the two of them grow closer through this investigation.
I did not get a vibe from him that he's a love interest, and maybe they're just trying to keep that, you know, like under wraps. Well, actually, there's a shot where Max touches his hand, so maybe. But the clip is shown when they mention the words anxiety. There wasn't a look in the eye of love or lust when, you know, they spoke to each other, in my opinion. Well, actually, this might be, but I don't know. Yeah, I think he plays the Warren side, but like a friend only, not a possible love interest. Theory, though, theory. But speaking of love interest, in the trailer, the voiceover says romance when we see this space bun cutie. Now, we're going to talk about the phone more in a second, but based on the little space buns in the profile photo, I'm guessing her name is Amanda. We don't even know what her pronouns are, so maybe it's not a her, but I think Amanda seems adorable. I like her attitude. I like that she cares for Max.
Be safe, yeah?
When am I not?
And is a comedian. We know Amanda does comedy of some kind. So guessing Amanda is the female love option. And if we're following previous Life is Strange, there's like a female and a male. They don't really deviate from that, but we'll see. Like maybe there's room for something different here. Okay, so the other characters. There's Safi's mom, which we don't know anything about her other than somehow she rescued Max out of freelance hell, right? We also know that in the trailer, when they said who's suspicious and who's suspicious of her, they showed a shot of Safi's mom. Does that mean anything? I don't know. But interesting. Then there's what they call the relentless detective. There's somebody named Lucas. We see his briefcase on the table, and it says Lucas's briefcase. And in this shot, it looks like Max is holding said briefcase while there's a gun pointed at her, and probably Moses based on the clothes. The person holding the gun is probably the detective. Theories. We also know that there is somebody that is blonde that has a lot of interesting theories going around about who she is right now, not for this video, but we know that she's like a journalist of some kind, but she's trying to get information. I'm guessing this character will have a bigger part. Yes. Okay. There's also someone named Gwen in her phone. Gwen might be a crucial character. We don't know. And there are even more characters that will likely interact with too in either one or both of the timelines that she can shift between.
Max meets essentially two versions of every person that she's investigating, and these will both differ in ways that are significant because of Safi's death.
You'll have to keep an eye out for dialogue choices, because if you're not paying attention, you might stumble into Max being confused about the timeline, whereas if you're on your game, you can avoid those little faux pas in a conversation.
Speaking of conversation and dialogue, what has stayed the same and what's new with the gameplay? We know there's going to be interactions with people, dialogue choices, and we do have a confirmation of different types of choices. This appears to be what the major choices look like, more of just like the boxes. Now, this is all pre-beta footage. Maybe they're going to change the design, but we know there's going to be sort of a difference between major and minor or standard dialogue. And on the Japan site, it says that choices are final. So that, I mean, like save and reload, sure, but there's no rewind ability. It also says that choices that you make might seem good, but later on they're not so much. So this also tells us it preserves the kind of original gameplay intention of, you know, there's not a right and wrong answer here. There's a lot of different options that you could do, and people are complex. So I love that that part's preserved in this game too. There is additional gameplay option of photos. And this is so exciting that we can actually control Max's camera and take pictures. You can toggle different pose options. We didn't see the Safi picture, so I don't know if that happens all the time, but for Moses, we did.
Casually lean on the telescope.
I might knock it over.
pretend.
But I wonder what the choice consequence level of taking photos would be. You can also then, of course, take the picture. You can retake the picture. And what's really exciting is you can post the picture. And that was our first glance at what's inside Max's phone. It shows a new social media platform called Crosstalk, which is super cool. And what we think we see like a profile for Max, and then maybe like people that she follows and pages that she follows or something. Maybe those are DMs within, you know, the app, probably. I don't know. And so when you choose to post the photo, it posts it. And then I wonder what happens. Like, do people interact with it? What if you don't post versus do? What are your different relationships with people? And does that change the outcome? Like, oh my God, I'm going to have so much fun. It's going to be so much fun. Also, because the gameplay showed this, we also see what else is available in the phone. So right at the top, we see journal. Now, we didn't get a look at the journal, but we see there is one, and that's very exciting. I'm very excited for a journal. Can't wait to see what it looks like. We also see that there is messages, which are SMS or text messages. You get notifications that pop up when a new message comes in. And collectibles. I don't know why I would have thought there wouldn't be collectibles, but I was so excited to see there was collectibles. So are the photos the collectibles? What you take there, does that relate to that, or is it something totally different? We also know that there seems to be another theme of animal symbolism of some kind, and just like all the other games, I think this is up for interpretation. I think this was missing from True Colors. It was in there a little bit, but it wasn't so like obvious if it was anything at all. So I'm really glad they brought this back in because it ties so nicely back into the original. You get that same mysterious feeling that you had. We're gonna have to do a full investigation of this owl in another video. We also see that there are Easter eggs, some great Easter eggs. Just in like the first like 10 minutes of the game, first few minutes of the game, we already see a Power Bear mug. That's so great. Tell me if you saw this one. Do you see what's in here? Do you notice something? Now, I don't know if anyone else notices this because I actually never released a video about this, and now I'm gonna have to. This is one of the watering cans in Eleanor's shop in True Colors, if you didn't know. But there is some really bizarre things happening with this watering can. I'll have to show you what I mean later. I'm so excited for Easter eggs. We found out so much. We'll just have to do part 2. And definitely subscribe, if not just for like the theory videos that I'm talking about doing soon, do it for the future when the game comes out, the choice and consequence videos, because man, I go hard on that kind of stuff. I already need to start planning what the spreadsheets and flowcharts are going to be so I could just pump it in. And I need to take years off of work. Okay, that's what we know, or that's what we know so far. Again, let me know if I missed anything. Okay, bye.